The history of the Philippines educational system. As you study the summary of the Philippine educational system, just remember this sociological concept which is the focus of this chapter. The education is a function of society, and as such, what are taught in schools arise from the nature and character of society itself. What society considers important is what schools teach. Let us also see how the nature and character of Philippine society are reflected in education process in different periods of Philippine history, such as the pre-colonial period, the Spanish period, the American regime, the Japanese occupation, and lastly the post-colonial period. So let's start with the education during the pre-colonial period. During the pre-colonial period, education was informal and unstructured. The children were provided more vocational training but lesser academics. So during na time sa pre-colonial period is kasagara ang mga bata is ginatudluan og more vocational like ginatudluan sila sa ilang mga ginikanan og panginabuhi like sewing, like doing the household chores. So during the pre-colonial period is more nila ginatudlo ang vocational na activity kaysa sa mga academics. Next one is education during the Spanish era. Education was formal and organized. Instruction was religion-oriented. So during the Spanish era, ang education is naghinay-hinay na siya og ka-develop, like was formal and organized siya. So during that time is ginatudlo na sab nila ang religion, like ginatudlo na nila ang Christian doctrines, ang music, ang music and sacred songs like how to pray, mga confession and communion. Diri na time is ginatudlo na more sa Spanish era, ginatudlo na more ang all about sa religion. So kining nga education during the Spanish era is under ni siya sa law sa the Commonwealth Decree of 1886. This law gave Filipinos a complete system of education from elementary to the college level. So kini nga law is gina-provide nila ang complete education from elementary, secondary to the tertiary or college or mga universities. The third one is education during the American regime, 1898 to 1946. So the Americans promoted democratic ideals and the democratic way of life. When we say democratic is freedom ni siya sa mga tao, ruled by people. Next one is a system of free and compulsory elementary education was established by the Malolos Constitution. So kining Malolos Constitution is sila ang mga nag-enumerate sa national na mga rights sa mga Filipino. For example, ano is right to education. So the next one is that the Department of Public Institution set up a 3-level school system. So kining Department of Public Institution is sila to ang set up. Sila ang nag-set up sa 3-level. When we say 3-level is from elementary to secondary to the college or universities, or what we call tertiary level. So there is the Commonwealth period 1935 to 1942. Diri gina-implement na sab nila ang free education, vocational education also emphasize nationalism, good manners and discipline, the institute of private education. So mano ni diri gina-implement na nila ang free education, which is na usa karon na naka-benefits ang mga estudyante sa mga free education. Next one is vocational education. Mao ni akong giingon na katong mga household chores like sewing, cooking, farming, ingon ana. So the next is education also emphasize nationalism. Diri na period ay ang education is gina-emphasize nila ang education, ginahatagan nila importance ang mga national heroes like ang Jose Rizal, life and works ni Jose Rizal, like mga heroes sa Philippines. So good manners and discipline. So diri ginatudlo na sab og hinay-hinay ang good manners, ang how to respect, how to the hospitality, how to socialize everyone, how to like how to show your good manners, like hinahinay na ka og disiplina. The last one is the institute of private education. So diri mga private education is gina-establish na nila ang private education, dili lang sa mga public. The fourth one is the Japanese occupation, diffusion of elementary education and promotion of vocation education. So during the Japanese period is ginaspread na nila ang vocation education from elementary, like katong mga household chores like sewing, like katong sewing ginatudlo na nila sa elementary on like kanang striving for the diffusion of the Japanese language in the Philippines and determination of the use of English in schools. So diri is gina-spread po nila ang dili lang ang Japanese language, ang gina-practice tasab nila ang mga English language, ilabi na sa mga private schools, diba kasagara ang mga inistoryahan sa private schools is mga English kasagara. So mo ni dili lang Japanese language ang gina-implement nila ani na period kun apil na pod ang English language. So the last one is the post-colonial Philippines. Education aimed at the full of realization of the democratic ideals and the way of life. So diri is ginatudlo na ang mga information like democratic ideas like kanang mga on how to live like the way sa life sa usa ka individual. Diri ginatudlo na nila ginatudlo pud nila ang daily flag ceremony diri sa karon na time gina-implement na nila ang mga flag ceremony in every schools, di ba? Curricular offerings in all schools. So when we say curriculars is for example katong works ni Jose Rizal, which is the Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo. Diri na time sa post-colonial period is gina-implement na nila ang unsa ang life ni Jose Rizal, or ginapa-study sa mga estudyante from elementary to the college level. So imagine from informal to formal to complete system to free education. Ang hangtod karon daghan na kayong mga developments, di ba, ang mga education. So speaking of other developments na here's the some I listed, which is the integration of values in all learning areas. Integration meaning gina-unite na nila, integration of values in all learning areas, gina-unite nila giusa na nila ang mga learnings. SHED is responsible for higher education under Republic Act 7722, Higher Education Act of 1994. So diri ang SHED is more responsible na sila sa ilang mga. The next one is the governance of basic education under Republic Act of 991-55. So diri sa governance of basic education act is diri ga-compose ni siya og mga division offices, mga division offices, mga regional offices, mga division offices, mga district offices, mga schools. K-12 program, under Republic Act 105-33 on May 15, 2013. So kini na program is usa ko sa naka-benefits ani na program. So kini na program is nag-compose na siya to provide sufficient time for mastery of concepts and skills, gina-practice sa mga estudyante to develop their learnings, to prepare graduates for tertiary education, middle level skills, develop employment and entrepreneurship. So overall, ang education sa una hangtod karon is nagadevelop na gid siya, daghan na kaayo siya daghan na implement para matudluan og tarong to educate the learners well. So those are the history of the Philippine educational system.